ray of hope for parents of the abducted schoolboys and Nigerians at large, as there are strong indications that the students may be released today. That's barring any last-minute changes. A series of protests in Katsina and Abuja over insecurity, as opposition PDP insists the president has failed in the area of security, while APC governors say they are confident in his ability to resolve the security challenges. Hello and welcome. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Kayode Okikulu. It's been 6 days since gunmen attacked Government Science Secondary School, Kankara, in Katsina State and abducted hundreds of students. Today, over 400 of them remain in the forest unaccounted for, with parents and guardians keeping vigil at the school, hoping for some heartwarming news and sometimes even fearing for the worst. But tonight, there are indications that the rescue operation may be nearing a positive conclusion, with reports that the abductors may have agreed to release the boys today. Well, barring any last-minute change or any unforeseen circumstances, the boys are expected to be reunited with their families if the negotiations go as planned. Well, the challenging part of this operation, we are told, is the sheer landmass of the forest where they are being held, with traverses Niger Republic, Guinea-Conakry, Zamfara, and even parts of Kogi State. Well, yesterday we had a conversation with Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina State, who confirmed that the students are all alive. Earlier today, however, a video emerged on social media purportedly showing some of the abducted boys, and some of the boys can be seen in the footage taking turns to appeal to government to help secure their release from their captors. The video is reported to have released or been released by Boko Haram, although it is yet to be independently verified by Channels Television. We'll stay with Channels Television for latest verified news on the mission to rescue the students of GSSS Kankara. In the meantime, the People's Democratic Party is not pleased with the president's handling of security. Well, earlier today, the national chairman of the main opposition party led a protest demanding urgent action on the insecurity in the country. Mr. Oche Secondus, who was seen carrying placards surrounded by other participants in the protests, also bearing placards with various inscriptions, says that the president has failed to tackle security challenges. Well, yesterday in Bauchi, the PDP chairman also condemned the poor handling of the security situation, insisting that the president has left the country worse than he met it. He said if he were in the president's shoes, he will declare a state of emergency on insecurity and change the entire security architecture of the country.
This is a peaceful protest to make the entire country and the international community to be aware of what is going on in our country. And all we are saying is that Buhari bring back our boys from Katsina. It is important. We are in pain. The parents are in pain. The entire country are in pain. We're in agony. We're in sorrow. It is high time for the government of the day, the APC government, to bring back our boys from Katsina. And that is the bold statement by PDP today with this peaceful protest.
Well, on the flip side, however, governors of the ruling All Progressives Congress are rating the president high in the area of handling security issues. The Progressive Governors Forum, in a statement by its chairman and governor of Kebbi State, Abubakar Bagudu, said that they are proud of the president's patriotic leadership. A part of the statement, which was to felicitate with the president on his birthday celebration, which is today, reads, "We acknowledge and commend your leadership, vision and commitment to a united, prosperous Nigeria." Recognizing all the difficult period we face as a nation, we are confident under your leadership we'll be able to resolve our national security challenges and restore peace in every part of the country. So that's a vote of confidence for the president. Call it a birthday present. But let's get into our conversation tonight as the mission to rescue the abducted students of Government Science Secondary School Kankara continues and perhaps nears a positive end. But there are fears of a possible recurrence either in Katsina State, neighboring state, or any other state for that matter, with states like Kano, Kaduna, Zamfara, and Jigawa all closing their schools following the attack. They're clearly not taking any chances. But there's a proposal at the National Assembly that might work in forestalling future attacks. And joining us on the program tonight is Honorable Musa Sakinarda, a member of the House of Representatives, APC, Sokoto. He joins us from our Abuja studio, as well as Major General Abu Mai, an expert on security. Thank you for joining us on the program, gentlemen. Well, let me begin with you, Honorable. First, a lot of Nigerians are curious, naturally, and they want to know just what is the House of Representatives doing with all of its powers to ensure the safe return of the students?
The House of Representatives have always expressed its concerns about the worsening security situation in the country. We have raised the motions and motions several times, and we have passed resolutions, and we have proposed measures that should be adopted to improve the security situation in the country. Beyond that, some of us are of the opinion that defense budget or budget of all security agencies should be cut until and unless we have seen improved results in what they are supposed to be achieving is a yielding result. Our words will not be taken for granted, just like that. Our resolutions have been disobeyed. Our resolutions have been ignored. It is something of concern because it concerns the life of human beings. And we are doing it based on our conviction that human life should not be used in politicking. We are members of the APC. We are members of this regime. But notwithstanding, we have to stand up and say the truth as it is. If anybody says he is happy with what is happening, whether he's in the ruling party or in the other opposition party, he is just not being a human. And for that reason, I think we have so far come off with our voices and we have said it. And the ears that are supposed to have heard it, I believe, must have heard it long time before now. All we are saying, we are now praying. The last resolution we have passed asking Mr. President to rejuvenate, reorganize the security apparatus in the entire country should be listened to and should be implemented. As of today, nobody will say anything to defend the failure on the security situation. If anybody does that, he is only playing to the gallery, just only to get the accolade of somebody else there. I'm not in opposition. I'm in the ruling party. And I'm one that have sacrificed so much for the party. In the last 5 years that I've been a member of the APC, I made great sacrifice. Most people, including my colleagues and those in the executive, they knew my support for this government, for Mr. President, my loyalty, my respect for him. But at the same time, I will not now come and sustain things are going right while they are not going right. You know, especially with the recent incident of the abduction of over 400, let me finish, of over 400 students from Gamma Secondary School, Ankara. They are children of our people. The Boko Haram is winning their war. They are trying to terrify people to stop sending their children to school. This is the implication. If it happens today, nobody knows where it will happen tomorrow. And we shouldn't be only being defensive. We should be proactive to try as much as possible to wage this war to its final conclusion. We shouldn't be only when things has happened, then we now start calling on the military, the police to go and search for the rescue. We shouldn't be rescuing. We should be defending.
Let's get General
Abu Mai. The bandits and the Boko Haram should be exterminated.
Right. Let's get General Abu Mai's opening comments. I mean, you've touched on some issues, especially about funding. I mean, it's interesting that you're talking about cutting funding when it seems that the generality of opinion is more funding should go into the security agencies. But we'll get to that and some of the issues you have raised regarding safe schools. But let's get Major General Abu Mai's opening statement on this. Now, from a tactical point of view, General, I'm sure you have followed the progression from, Friday night, the statements made by the Minister of Defense, the statements made by the Defense Ministry, the governor, the process really. From a tactical point of view, General Mai, what would you say is the biggest challenge in this operation? General Mai, if you can hear me, I really hope you can. From a tactical point of view, what is the biggest challenge for you? Haven't seen the progression really off and on battlefield. What would you say is the biggest challenge in this rescue operation? Okay, clearly General Mai cannot hear us just yet, but we'll work on that. Now, Honorable, let's get into some of the issues that came up on the floor of the House recently. The talk about Safe School Initiative. Yes, Nigeria was one of the very first countries to key into this initiative, but you're of the opinion that clearly this has not been implemented. So what is the thinking really of the House to ensure this does not happen again?
What we are thinking now is all public and private schools should be properly secured by men of the police and the civil defense. Because if we fail to do that, like I said, we don't know in future where it will come. We hope this should be the last abduction or the last attack on any institution, not only schools, any institution, be it a social, economic, religious, or traditional institutions. We hope this will be the last one. However, before that happens, we should try to be proactive by providing adequate security measures. When we say that, we don't mean you have to deploy a battalion of police or civil defense at the school, but there should be proper intelligence surveillance. We have intelligence officers all over the country. They should mount surveillance around all institutions that we think these people, the nefarious people, are taken as targets. Henceforth, if that is not done, I've said earlier, we pray it should not repeat itself again. But meanwhile, we need to do more proactive in terms of the entire security situation of this country. As it is today, there's nowhere you will go and feel safe. Even those that are in uniform, who are supposed to be protecting us, you see them with fear anywhere they are going. Because, for example, if you are traveling from Kaduna to Abuja, you find many of them with their escorts in the train. If they are bold enough, they should be flying the roads. That will be civilians like us who are not armed. We are deserting. When you found a general or a police commissioner or a police AIG in the train with his escort there for fear of attack on the major road, then who else is going to be safe anywhere again? The situation today, look at all the military offices, military barracks, or the police barracks, police offices. Everywhere you go, you see barricades used by drums. If the situation has reached that stage, that even in their offices, they don't have any other means of protecting themselves except this unorthodox means of protection, then you see, you now realize something is missing.
Right. So
And
specifically
going
speaking
forward,
now,
what I mentioned earlier about the cutting of the money, we know the funds given to all the security agencies, they are saying is not enough for their operational conduct. But what we're asking, show us the results of what you have been doing with the money given to you. Quantum of money have been given. This administration has given more money than any administration in this country to security sector. But the result is not commensurate to what is given. Where are these monies? Where are the monies?
big questions you
Try
have
to
raised
buy
there.
more modern equipment. With technology, it is easy for you now. What you can do with 100 battalion of soldiers, one person can do it through technology.
Right.
Update your technology, update the capacity of your staff to go and acquire modern knowledge, modern professionalism through technology. This is easy, and it can be done, and it's been achieved by many countries.
You know, when you ask...
one drone, a drone can give you what 100 people can give you at a time. You don't have to be defensive as always, like I said.
Right.
Today's counter-insurgency or counter-terrorism or counter-anything is to be done through intelligence.
Okay,
not
Honorable,
through
we're
physical
we're due for a break
Once
now.
you know the location of these
Honorable
people,
Sarkinada.
then you should know how to go and vet it.
Yes, we're due for our break now. I mean, you raised the question about where's the money, and I imagine a lot of Nigerians asking, well, you have that power to actually follow the money and know where the monies are being spent, especially when it relates to security. But these are some of the issues we'll look at when we return. Don't forget, we'll still have Major General Abu Mai with us on the program. He'll give us a tactical perspective to this, really, what Nigerians should expect, what has played out, and what maybe are the missing links. These are some of the issues we're looking at in a moment, so please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Well, let's join Major General Abu Mai, who joins us virtually from Enugu. He's a security expert. Don't forget, we still have Honorable Musa Sarkinada in our Abuja studio. But General Mai, just before that break, I was trying to get your perspective from a tactical point of view, an operational point of view now. There's been a lot of analysis, really, about this operation, what is happening, what ought to happen, how it happens in other climes. But from what you have seen, the trends, what would you say is the biggest challenge in this operation?
Well, thank you very much. What I think about the security operations in Nigeria is that we have not really focused as a nation to take on our security challenges. What I mean is that when a nation is facing existential threats like what we are facing in Nigeria, the state concentrates on getting everybody, every agency that is supposed to be involved through adherence to internal security arrangements of a country. Every country has internal security doctrine, which specifies what the Ministry of Information should do, what the Ministry of External Affairs should do, what the Ministry of Justice should do, what other agencies are supposed to do. And there is a synergy. A synergy is required to brought in to bear on the operation. It's not, this is internal security, terrorist operation. It is not supposed to be purely for the security agencies alone. The security agencies take care of the operation. Now, if you like, I can give you an example. For instance, there is a personality that is living in a country outside this nation, in a Western world, and he is churning out propaganda information that negatively impacts on the security of this nation, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is doing nothing about it.
General Mai, you'd have to forgive me for butting in at this point. Well, I should have done that earlier, but this is particularly about the rescue mission of the boys, which is why I asked, what do you see as the biggest challenge for this mission in particular? But then, I mean, it's fair that you talk about the general security situation of the country, but you talked about synergy also, and I'd like to just latch on that because we've seen the statements by the government regarding negotiations, discussions with the bandits or terrorists, as the case may be. And regarding the synergy, who should lead in charge? I mean, who should lead rather in terms of this mission? Should it be a security agency, or the government can as well rely on organizations, in this case, MACBAN?
The military should not lead. It's supposed to be a diplomatic approach. Perhaps maybe another country is involved. Perhaps it's cross-country banditry. So the external affairs leads in a situation like this because it involves diplomacy. But it goes pari passu with the military content of the operation. So as the military is doing what they ought to do, the diplomatic avenue is also explored to help the military to achieve its objectives. So In as much as we deploy troops to go in search of these children, in as much as we deploy troops to do whatsoever they need to do, there is also the need for diplomatic maneuver.
So, to that extent, for those criticizing the government for, engaging in negotiations through Miyetti Allah, you think that this is in order as far as the boys are rescued? Am I right?
No. I don't think Miyetti Allah should glorify itself with that kind of, should be given opportunity to glorify itself. Miyetti Allah is not an arm, and it's not an agency of the government. Why do we need to give them the opportunity to glorify themselves? They will take the glory that the government should take for doing government work. So why do we need to involve Miyetti Allah? I don't think they have any role in that at all, except if they were the ones who abducted the children.
All right, let's take this to Honorable Sakinada in Abuja studio. Well, you've talked about the plans for the Safe School Initiative, but just to get your response, because I saw you reacted to some of the statements made by General Abu Mai, seeing the proposal, in fact, not proposal, what we're seeing now, Magban negotiating in some sense on behalf of the Katsina government. Do you think this is in order?
At this moment, any approach, any measure that will secure the release of these young boys will be appreciated, regardless of whoever's involved in bringing it. Let us bring them first. When they are reunited with their families, then now let's come and talk to condemn the approach or whether it is the proper channel or not. But at this moment, we have reached a critical situation whereby it's like somebody who is drowning in water. Once you give him a sword, he will hold it. So for now, whatever way the government will follow to secure these children, please they should do it and immediately as quick as they could. I would be very glad if the stories we heard from the various media agencies that the release is about to be achieved in few hours to come. I pray that will come up, and we will be glad and we'll be happy with that. We continue to pray for that. We should not play with play politics with the lives of humans, regardless of those that are in captivity at the moment.
Well, so back to that initiative which you've spoken about, because a lot of Nigerians really don't want to see this happen again. We've seen various resolutions from the House of Representatives come and go without anything tangible really to follow. And I think you alluded to that earlier, saying that you will not take resolutions coming out and nobody obeying it, that the House will not take it anymore. So regarding this proposal now to ensure that this Safe School Initiative is followed through with, just how are you going about it such that it will be entrenched? We can go to schools in the future and see that indeed those schools are safe. What approach are you taking?
We are going to take a further approach. You know, some people in the executive will come to say, we don't have power to summon this and that. Now we'll refocus our effort towards making bills. A bill is more potent than a resolution. And once a bill is passed by the two chambers, Senate and House, and is referred to the President for assent, if he assented, fine. And if he refused to assent for whatever reason, when it comes back to the National Assembly, we have the power after 60 days to adopt it and pass it, and it becomes a law, and it must be implemented. I think henceforth, going forward, we'll try as much as possible to move away from resolutions to passing bills that will become a law that is enacted and stand the test of time.
On a final note, General Abu Mai, let me just get your thoughts. There's been a lot of talk about that video that surfaced online from the terrorist group purportedly showing the boys, the abducted boys. And of course, there's been a lot of back and forth. What do you think that video was meant to achieve in this whole scheme of things?
Well, let me first of all say that I didn't hear one word that some of the other contributors spoke on this program. But taking that standing on its own, I want to say that that tells us that the people that took these children are bandits. they just did that in order to negotiate for ransom. So why they show the picture is to make the government become more desperate and increase the large sums of money they may be asking for. So I think it's the video clip is a blackmail. The video clip is aimed at pressure as much money out. That's what I think.
Well, on that note, we'd like to thank you so much, Major General Abu Mai, security expert, for sharing your thoughts with us on the program, as well as Honorable Moses Sakinada, who's a member of the House of Representatives of the APC, Sokoto State. Thank you so much for your time as well.
Thank you.
And that's the program for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kyle Kikul.